Hello there, everybody. I'm going to be tying the Ripple Minnow, and it's called that for no other reason than it's the Ripple ice fiber is the ingredient that I like so much about this fly. And this is kind of what it looks like in a vertical container of water. So now, as you see, it doesn't have a whole lot of, I guess you could say, kind of like wavy wiggle. But let me tell you, that Ripple Fob ice in the outside sunshine or just the water conditions, it just comes to life. I mean, what it lacks in kind of like little wiggle movement, you know, that the Sanyo's dub will help with, and then that Ripple ice fiber will too. And if you're lucky, you'll have one of Fred Haney's wonderful paintings come up and check out your fly. Yum 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 yum. Alright, so that's what it looks like. And I guess that's what it looks like wet. Out the water. Although, well, we don't have a good focus on that, do we? Okay, I guess not. We'll get our vertical water container out the way, and you can see what it looks like kind of out the water. Here's a little facial recognition thing that might help it focus. Come on, stop. There you go. There you go. And then here's a dry version. You focusing on that? Oh, not really. There we go. Okay. Alright, so let's tie it. Now, other than the hook and the bead, there's only two materials. The hook is your favorite jig hook, which mine at the moment is the Umpqua U series hook. It's a jig hook. They tend to run about 2 sizes larger than what the number says. I'm going to be using a number 6. It's good for bass, and it makes it easier to see what I'm tying. But this number 14 is one of my favorites because it's about the size of a 10, and it's great for brim and small bass. So here is a hook loaded with a brass bead, and we'll get started. Just do a jam knot somewhere on a shank. You know, take your thread to over the point and come back a few wraps, a third to the point tip, and then I'm going to use chartreuse ripple ice fibers. You can use what color you like, and you grab a little, get a little pinch. I wouldn't put it between my teeth and gums, but here's a little pinch, and I like to kind of getting it out about like that, and then just cutting it in half. For these small flies, I guess a larger fly, you just put the clump on as is, and just kind of arrange your flat tips in a little taper, make them a little bit longer than the hook shank. Take 1 or 2 thread wraps to secure it, and then push your butt ends back. You can use the bead to kind of help push them back and hold them back, and make a few wraps going back like that. And if you got any wild ones, you can kind of trim them up, taper them if you want. Now with this size hook, what I'll do is I'll put a little bunch of hair in for the tail. I mean, if you wanted to get fancy, you could use some raccoon, or you can just take the Sanyo's laser dub that you're going to use to create the veil with later, and just kind of tie some of that around the shank and just tease it out, and that'll give you a nice little taper right there at the rear. Pull it back. And believe me, that ripple ice will shine right through that laser dub. Now, I like using a little contrasting color, kind of like a hot spot near the hook bend. You know, in this case, like a rusty brown, bronze, orange kind of color. Goes good with chartreuse. And you just kind of twist that up, twist that up on a string to create a little dubbing noodle. And then just wrap that around the little butt section. And you want to wrap the body with some more white laser dub. Same thing, just create a white dubbing noodle. And just kind of go up to about a third of the shank. And before you tie in another bunch of ripple fiber, go ahead and kind of tease out this dubbing, the body dubbing. I like using this little wire brush. It kind of gets it going. Now, so right here you want to come up a little bit, and then grab another pinch of your ripple ice. Again, I'll cut it in half. Line up the cut tips, kind of wiggle them around a little bit to misalign them. Measure it to the end, to where the hook bend is, and then just tie in 1, 2, 3 wraps. And then push the butt sections back. And then come forward and maybe trim some of the wild ones, the wild fibers out the way. Just like that. And create a dubbing loop. Make it about 6 inches. Put your finger at that 6-inch point to make your loop. Come back up around the shank and go towards your tie-in point. Wrap your thread around your loop once, twice to secure it, and then come back to where you're going to tie it off at. My dubbing twist is a plastic toilet screw or bolt. I put a cup hook in the end of it, and then stack some washers. I got 5 galvanized washers here, and then just secure it all with the plastic nut that came with the toilet bolt. That gives it a little weight. It's easy to spin. So you don't need a whole lot of dubbing here, because you have just a little short collar, but you want it to be enough to have to make a nice bulky, not too bulky, but a nice little shoulder to veil the rest of the fly in. I think I said that right. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and keep teasing this out. And I'm going to stick it up in the thread. And that looks like that should be enough right there. Okay. You pinch your thread, pinch your loop right at the bottom of the dubbin, and then twist your spinner. Spin your twister, one or two, and then you pull and let go. And your dubbin twist up against itself, so you tease it out. Pull all the fibers out that are jammed up against each other. And go ahead and wrap that around as a collar and neck and shoulders, and kind of forms the head of your minnow. I like to brush it out as I'm winding to keep the fibers out and fluffy and from trapping up against themselves. There we go. And what you can do to make sure it stays put, you can kind of let it unwind a little bit. And then just grab your dubbin loop and come up and make a half hitch with it around your shank. And then go ahead and 1, 2, 3, and pull it back, make 1, 2, or 3 more. Cut your dubbin loop, and then go ahead and whip finish with a little bit of laser dub on your thread. Go ahead and make a little dubbin noodle to hide your thread with. Slide it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that'll pull that thread right up underneath there. And you want to go ahead and tease it out. Make it really beat it up. Remember, fish are going to be eating it, so you don't want to, and then brush it back. And and put some head cement down up in there when you're done. I just want to show this to you. Oh, we need our face recognition card again. There you go. Now you don't really see that orange in there too much right now, but once it gets wet, that will show up. Alright. Either use, tie this exact same fly, or well, you can see the little orange on my lopsidedly tied fly. Or just use some of these techniques and tie your own killer. Alright, that's the ripple ice minnow, the ripple minnow. Bye.